Yo, what up?
Um,
I'm Chuck, and I'm an LA Lakers fan.
My daddy'll kick your daddy's ass all the way from here to China, Japan, wherever the hell you from, and all up that Great Wall,
Hey,
too.
don't talk about my
Don't
father.
talk about my
Lakers
daddy.
fan.
and I'm Ronnie J, and I'm a Clippers fan.
Mom. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Call for your mama.
And together we are LA Divided.
Divided. Memphis Grizzlies. After a first-round exit, the Memphis Grizzlies have returned to the 2021-22 season with their eyes set to more than just another playoff appearance. With a possible All-Star in Ja Morant, the Grizz are back to their grit and grind play, currently sitting at the 3 spot in the West. Can they be considered as a serious contender?
But he seemed to be more the instigator in the battle. But Steven Adams always going to protect his teammates, and he did so here. Bradley wouldn't let go, even after Morant pushed the ball in his face, and Steven Adams just said, all right, here, let me take you over here with me.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to LA Divided, NBA United. I'm your guy, Goodluck Chuck. I'm here with my homie, Mr. Ronnie J, aka R.
What up? What up?
Anyway, we're getting into the Memphis Grizzlies on our team spotlight, focusing on the team. Obviously, the Memphis Grizzlies are a very popular team right now because of what they're able to do or what they have been doing in the NBA. And so we're going to chat about it a little bit. And they're, obviously a team that we have kept our eyes on, being, that we have two teams that are in the Western Conference that have seen this team over the years. I'm sure Ronnie doesn't want to be reminded of any playoff heartbreaks that the Grizzlies caused his Clipper team. And of course, with the Lakers, we had some battles here and there, but for the most part, the Grizzlies was never our rivals. But becoming some rivals of some people, namely the Golden State Warriors. But before we get into all of that, Ron, tell us about what your impression of the Memphis Grizzlies has been thus far.
Well, first off, my first impression on the Grizzlies, man, they've been balling. Some will say they back to their grit and grind play. Too much defense is not being played nowadays, but they can definitely put some numbers up on the board. Ja Morant, man, he's the catalyst to that team, and that dude just be balling out of control, and he seemed to get better and better each game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's not just Ja when we talk about the team effort that the Grizzlies give, because even when Ja was out, the team was able to find some success. That's when they were able to actually ramp up the defensive and they ended up, as far as first place in defensive efficiency, which is a stat that, the numbers don't lie at the end of the day. And I know, the NBA isn't just about numbers. You got to obviously have guys that put in the work and are obviously able to make big plays when needed. But when you look at this team and how they've been able to, essentially ramp it up on the defensive end, even when Ja wasn't there, I think that's a good reason why they've, been able to climb up to third place.
Yeah, it's been impressive what they was doing, and I mean, I know you threw out the numbers as far as the defensive numbers that they have, and but yeah, even more impressive, as you also touched on, when Ja Morant was out, they did they held players held it down, and they kept the wins coming in, so which is a good reason why they are currently at the number 3 spot. But yeah, it's just overall, it's just been impressive what they've been doing all season. Basically, it seemed like they were just feeding off of what they started last year after that first round exit, and they've just it's like that's locked in the back of their head, and they not looking back.
Exactly. And I think Memphis is a team. I mean, when we talk about teams that came out of the bubble a couple of years ago, I know that people like to discredit the Lakers and their bubble championship. Of course, I gotta, come in and really speak on something about the bubble. There was two teams that came out of that bubble that obviously have been continuing to play well, and that's Memphis and that's Phoenix. Phoenix.
Yeah.
went 8-0 in the bubble, just missed the playoffs that year, and then eventually went to the finals the very next year. Memphis is the team that was struggling to get into that play-in game, excuse me. They got into the play-in game against the Blazers, ended up losing, and then they came back and won a play-in game against the Warriors. And so, for them, it seems like they're carrying that chip on their shoulder. They're doing it, I think, the way old school teams did it, where it took a few years to knock on the door, like 3 and 4 years. So it's like step by step, this team has consistently got better. And I think it's because they're taking on, the attitude of their leader, which is Ja Morant. But they've got good players in Desmond Bane. Dillon Brooks is good player. It's good to see Steven Adams kind of find a home and get over there, because, Steven Adams is a guy that he's a bodyguard of sorts, kind of that mentality, the Anthony Masons of back in the day. I'm not saying he's exactly him, but I'm saying like Charles Oakley. These guys were guys that they didn't come in with a necessary mind-blowing skill set, but what they gave you in heart and effort, and then how they were able to protect the team's best player and kind of be that enforcer is what Steven Adams reminds me of, especially the other night when he carried that Bulls player to half court after he had got into it with Ja.
Right.
And so it's things like that, right, that get this team to band together. Brandon Clark is playing well. Jaren Jackson Jr. is getting healthy. So they got a number of guys that really have talent, and it's kind of all coming together.
Yeah, definitely. It seems like they have that team camaraderie, and to where no one is the superstar. Even though we all know Ja Morant is the superstar, everyone else puts on a hard hat and they come to work. They show up to play. There's no excuses, and they come in and get the job done. And as you briefly touched on, with them, Golden State. Listen, if they are a matchup, I will be locked in to see that series, because it's like Golden State is trying to get back to where they were, and Memphis is on a peak of their, some of their best, probably will be one of their best years, to because we can't look into the future and see what they're going to do. But as of right now, it would definitely be something to be locked into and watch, because like I said, Golden State is trying to get back to where they were, and Memphis feels like they have a lot to prove. So if somehow they were going to match up in the playoffs, whatever round, it would definitely be good basketball.
Absolutely. And you know what this reminds me of? I'll just close on this point. It reminds me of, remember when the Clippers were knocking on the door, and they had a really good team. I think it was going into 2014, 2015. And they ended up in a first round matchup with the Warriors. They beat them, right? And then the next year, the Warriors were able to avoid them and make their way to the finals, and then eventually end up winning it, right? Memphis kind of gives me that feel, right? Is like Golden State's kind of the team that they have to go through, but it's likely that because there are some other teams and other things that are working, injuries of sorts and stuff like that, I can see this Memphis team sneaking in a championship over the next few years, kind of under Golden State's nose. And so it's like, because everyone is expecting Golden State to be there. However, we see how they struggled, to play without Draymond Green. So it is not a problem that this team, is going all the way. So Memphis can very easily either get a Draymond Greenless Warriors team in the playoffs, or they, be on the other side of the bracket entirely, and someone else eliminates the Warriors, and then, they can, find themselves in the finals.
Right. So
like when that Clippers team basically said, you never beat us healthy. You know what I'm saying? You never beat us like you never beat us. You know what I'm saying? It was like 2015 was the perfect time for them to link up in the conference finals, but then the Clippers end up losing to the Rockets. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
2015. So I think that same thing can potentially happen, because I think the Warriors, as much as their Memphis is a great matchup for them or whatever, and it would behoove like I think the Warriors want to see Memphis too, because they're like, yo, if we got our whole team, like we beating y'all, like y'all.
Right.
But I think Memphis is just scrappy enough to get it done. You know what I'm saying? Or potentially, like if they go into a bracket where they get Utah on one side and then they get like maybe Dallas gets an upset or something like that, they could very easily beat those two teams and be in the conference finals.
Oh yeah.
Whoever. You know what I'm saying?
But again, on that same token, I feel like the Golden State Warriors were definitely had an upper edge. And I'm kind of looking at this Golden State Warriors team as like almost as if they never left. If you understand what I'm saying, because I mean they didn't leave or they didn't lose just by losing. I mean they lost to injuries. Players went down and so forth. And I know it's a part of the game, but that mentality that they come back with as if they still have something to prove, that will make it hard for the Memphis Grizzlies to overcome them. But again, that's why I'm saying I'm anxious to see how these playoff brackets is going to land, because either way it go, we're going to get some good basketball. But Memphis is definitely going to be a team that I'm looking forward to seeing play, just because of their style of play. And like I said, with Ja Morant, I mean, he's the superstar, like just forming right in front of our eyes.
Ja is really good. Ja Morant, when you talk about his ceiling for his career, it's Jordan-esque. Every time he steps on the floor with another MVP candidate, he always come out victorious.
You know what? This kid is must-see TV.
Ja is Memphis. This year, we're talking about actually putting him in the MVP conversation.